Welcome to the West Wing Week, your guide to everything that's happening at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue and beyond. This week, the White House hosted the Easter egg roll, the president traveled to Atlanta to attend a conference on opioid addiction, joined formerly incarcerated Americans for lunch, and hosted 50 nations for a summit on nuclear security. That's March 25th to March 31st, or we're live.
Hey, everybody.
On Monday, the President and First Lady welcomed more than 37,000 kids and their families to their backyard for their final Easter egg roll. The iconic event, now in its 138th year, included a colorful array of kids' activities, including a wide range of musical performances and the first ever White House fun run. Also, you may remember the viral video of first grader Camaria crying.
You want to write him a letter?
Well, she wrote that letter to the president, and so he invited her to celebrate Easter on the South Lawn. So here she is, meeting the president. That evening, the president spoke to a gathering of reporters at the awards ceremony for the Toner Prize for Excellence in Political Reporting. He highlighted the important role that journalists play in informing the electorate and ensuring the success of our democracy.
Because a well-informed electorate depends on you.
On Tuesday, the president had Georgia on his mind as he traveled to Atlanta to participate in the National Prescription Drug Abuse and Heroin Summit. There, he joined doctors, members of Congress, and advocates recovering from substance abuse to discuss the need to prioritize the treatment of addiction as both a medical diagnosis and a public health issue, rather than simply a crime.
It's not enough just to provide the architecture and the structure for more treatment. There has to be actual funding for the treatment.
On Wednesday, the president and vice president hosted the annual Easter prayer breakfast at the White House, which was attended by Christian ministers from across America. Later that morning, a group of formerly incarcerated Americans who had their sentences commuted were in the Roosevelt Room when the president stopped by for an impromptu visit. And yes, the surprise was broadcast live on Facebook. The president invited the group to join him for lunch at Busboys and Poets, a local D.C. restaurant, to discuss the challenges of re-entering society following incarceration.
As all of you know, it has been one of my top priorities for us to bring about a more sensible, more effective approach to our criminal justice system.
On Thursday, the president hosted a trilateral meeting with President Park of South Korea and Prime Minister Abe of Japan to discuss the threat posed by North Korea and the need for our countries to work together to ensure security throughout the region. Later, the president welcomed delegates from 50 nations to his final National Security Summit to discuss the international cooperation needed to strengthen global nuclear security. So stay engaged with us online, and remember, you can find out more information about any of these topics and see complete videos of these events at whitehouse.gov. Thanks so much for checking out this sometimes live edition of your West Wing Week.
Right there, you got a special place. Right there. So what grade are you in? Are you in second grade? First grade? Are you working hard in school? Okay, you got to be a reader now. All right, everybody look up and say cheese.